How's it going, guys? Rhino here, and welcome to my first video in the new apartment. I now have an opportunity to make videos, so I'm hopefully going to be making videos on a more frequent basis involving the GTR as well as involving other aspects. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really happy that I finally got everything set up and ready to go. I still have to tweak some of my recording equipment, obviously, because I haven't made a video yet, so I got to see where I want things to go, where I want to move things. That's something for the future that I'm gonna essentially move. I'm gonna change as I go, basically. So I just wanted to make a quick video talking about the Patreon page that I opened up. So yes, I did open up a Patreon. For those of you who don't follow my Instagram, I just posted a couple stories about it. In fact, if you follow my Instagram, you might not have seen it if you didn't happen to watch my story that day. But basically, I was kind of toying with the idea. I wasn't originally, but a little while back, I had a couple people message me saying that if I'm looking to work on my build, that maybe I could open up a Patreon or one of those PayPal donation pages, or some people even suggested a GoFundMe. And so I kind of toyed with the idea for a little while, but I finally decided that looking at it, the worst possible scenario, the worst case scenario is that no one contributes, and that's, so what? Then I'm back to square one. I'm back to where I'm at right now. And the best case scenario is if it's very successful, then I'll be able to help build my car. I'll be able to build my car a lot faster. I'll achieve that dream build of mine way faster than I originally anticipated. And so, low risk, high reward, I might as well go for it. And so I did open up a Patreon page, which will be linked in the description down below. You can check it out. I'll have, the page is already created. I have rewards on there and everything, but I wanted to make this video to kind of talk about a couple of misconceptions and issues that people might have had with the Patreon page, just to kind of clear things up. So to start off, the very first reaction, the very first reaction that I heard after I created the Patreon page and promoted it a little bit, was someone asked me why I'm asking people, or asking this individual technically, to pay for my car. And then I had other people who had questions about what the money's going towards, why I created it, what the rewards mean, and everything like that. And so I kind of wanted to try to answer that to the best of my ability here. Disclaimer though, the Patreon page will be ever changing, and so what I may talk about here may change down the road in terms of the rewards, but what the Patreon page is actually for will always remain the same. So what does your money go towards? Are you paying for my car because I can't afford it if you are chipping in money? So you decide, hey, I'm gonna pledge $5 per month and help you out. Is that money going towards my car? What is it going towards? And the answer is absolutely not. No money from the Patreon page, whether it's $1, whether it's $1,000, none of it is going towards my car. When I purchased my car, I made sure that I could afford my car. I could afford it, and I could afford it as I go along. So essentially with the car payments and everything. As it currently stands, I can afford the car, I can afford the car payments, and I can afford other things on top of it. The problem is that I have money going towards the car payments. Then I have money going towards big changes in the future, things that are important in my life. So, for example, an engagement ring for my future wife, a house, a smarter car for when I have kids and has better gas mileage and all that. So these big things down the road that I'm saving money towards. And then lastly, there's kind of a third echelon, which is pleasure. And the pleasure category obviously would include car upgrades, would include car parts. And so my money is divvied up, and it goes obviously first towards the big things, and then the car payment, it goes to those equally first, and then last it goes towards the pleasure category. And so I am saving up money in every single category, but the problem is that I'm saving up very, very slowly because the money is pretty divided as it is. And obviously I'm saving up the most money for the category that has to do with the big changes down the road. So a house, an engagement ring, etc. Because those are huge, they require a lot of money, and they're pretty important compared to whether I upgrade my car to an extra 100 horsepower or not. So that's why those come first. But don't worry, none of your money will go towards the category of my car payment because I already have that funded, and then none of it will go towards the big changes in my life like the engagement ring or the house, because that's something that I'm already saving up for, and it's something that I already have a plan to save up for, so I can afford it when I get to those parts of my life. Your money will be going towards the pleasure category, but specifically and only towards car parts. So the way that it's going to work is that I have a build in mind. Obviously, the build can be ever changing, but as it is right now, my car is almost stock. I have cold air intakes and a pump gas tune, so I'm up something like 70 or 80 wheel horsepower. So I'm at 535 wheel horsepower and over 600 crank. So that's where the build is currently at. Now, currently on my table over here, which you can't see, and actually in my car I have the other parts, I have everything that I need to get E85 tuned and run E85 well, including like alpha downpipes, for example. So I have fuel injectors, fuel pumps, flex fuel kit, downpipes, and then there's some stuff that the tuner is providing as well. So next Friday, I'm taking my car in to get all those modifications done, get a tune done by, it's going to be tuned by the guy who owns the world record for the fastest GTR, which is pretty freaking awesome. And so that's essentially the next step, is getting all those on. And so I believe around then I'll be considered full bolt-on plus E85. So I'll be somewhere in the range of like 610, maybe 620 wheel horsepower, which is a very good amount. And I'm very happy with that. But that's the next step. And so after that, I have one more step, including with bolt-ons that I have to go. Technically, I'm considered full bolt-on before I get the part, but I do want to add the part for other purposes. And so the next step, what I'm saving up for, is an alpha front mount intercooler, which is, I think, like $3,000. And so that'll be the next step of what I'm saving for. So any money that gets pledged onto my Patreon, whether it's $1, $5, $100, $1,000, whatever it may be, will be going towards that. So as I'm saving over time for the alpha front mount intercooler, any money that is pledged to my Patreon will automatically then go into that as well. So if I save up $100 next month for the alpha front mount intercooler, and we have $50 coming in from the Patreon page, then I have $150 going towards that, and so that's sooner that I get the alpha front mount intercooler. So that's essentially how it's going to work, and then the build will continue on after that. Now the reason why I'm getting the alpha front mount intercooler, it does it gives roughly like 10 to 15 wheel horsepower from what I hear. It is a really good modification. But the reason why I want it isn't actually for the performance aspect of things. I want it to help prolong the life of my engine and the overall health of my engine and health of my car as a whole. And so that way, down the road, I have to spend less money on repairs. And so I'm not only looking for parts and improvements and upgrades for my car that are based on performance, but also based on increasing the useful life and the health of my car as I drive it. Because it obviously, living in Houston, Texas, it's not healthy for my car to be run pretty hard all the time due to the heat and humidity. So right now, it's really freaking hot. I want to say it's close to 100 degrees. I think it's like 95, 98 degrees as I'm making this video. I went out to get lunch earlier and it was ridiculously hot. I got in my car and could barely breathe. And that's not good for my car. Now, when I drive in this weather, I don't drive hard. And so I am smart with my car here. But there will be times, like, for example, when I get all these modifications put on, I want to go to the track to see what I run. Because I should run at least a little bit into the 10s. I'm hoping for like a 10.8, maybe a 10.75. But once I get those on, I want to see what I can get. So I got to run to the track and go do that. And so that'll be when the weather's still a little bit hotter, and that won't be great for the car. And so as a result, I'm not going to be making as many videos because I want to rest my engine, I want to rest the car as much as possible in this heat. But if I had the alpha front mount intercooler, I would feel more comfortable going to the track more, so I'd be able to make more videos, etc. So that's essentially the whole point of it, is I want to not only improve performance, but improve the health and well-being of my car. And your money will always be going towards that. I'm gonna be very transparent about what the money is going towards. So right now it's the alpha front mount intercooler. After that, I don't exactly know what I want to do, but once the alpha front mount intercooler is on my car, I'm going to talk to the tuner who is really good they specialize in GTR, so they know what you should and shouldn't do to a GTR. Talk to them about what I should do next, and then I will let you guys know. And at any time, if you are curious what Patreon money goes towards, feel free to DM me. I respond to almost all, if not all, DMs that I get. I'm going to be fully transparent about it. I want you to know, if you're going to pledge, what your money is going towards. Now, the other aspect of it, the other part that people ask about, is the rewards. And the rewards will be ever-changing, so what I say now will be completely different than, or could be completely different than what's on the page 6 months from now, or 3 months from now, or a month from now. They're ever-changing because I want them to not only benefit you guys, so you guys get something in return for being a pledge to my Patreon, but I also want them to incentivize and promote being a pledge to my Patreon, so that way it's mutually beneficial for us, for everybody involved. So the current rewards right now are based on certain pledge tiers. So for example, $1, $5, $10, $50 are the current tiers. But you can make a custom pledge as well. So you can hop on there and pledge $2 a month. And that way you would fall in between the $1 and the $5, but you wouldn't actually get the $5 one. You'd get the benefits of the $1 one. So you can make a custom pledge and get a certain tier. But if you're like, hey, $1 isn't much for me, so I'm going to do $3 instead, or $2, you can make that custom pledge. And so you can do something in between. So that way you don't have to be stuck with a $1, $5, $10, $50. But once you hit those levels, you get that reward. So for example, the $1 per month reward, if you pledge $1 per month, you get a shout out on Instagram once you pledge. I'm going to shout you out because I appreciate that you're helping me out with my build. You're helping me out with my YouTube. You're helping me out with my dream, essentially. You're going to get a shout out. You also get priority for a ride in the GTR. Now, this needs to be explained because you don't have to be a pledge to get a ride in the GTR. But if I'm at a meet and there are 3 people that want a ride in the GTR, which has happened before, I only really want to give a ride like once per meet. I don't want to just be constantly picking someone up, driving them around, coming back, picking someone else up, driving them around, coming back, because then I'm not really enjoying the car meet the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. And so if there's 3 people that want to ride in the GTR and 2 of them happen to be pledges and 1 of them is not, the 2 that are pledges are going to more likely get a priority, or be more likely to be the ones that are going to ride in the GTR over the person who's not a pledge. And so I might pick, if they're the same level tier, I'll pick one of them and be like, hey, hop in, let's go for a ride. And then the next time around, I'm going to give the other one a ride in the GTR. But if one of them is a $5 pledge and one of them is a $1 pledge, the one who's the $5 pledge gets a priority this time, and then the $1 pledge gets a ride another time if I happen to see them at a meet. And that doesn't mean that if I'm at a meet, I'm going to be giving rides. I may just want to hang out and chill. It just means that if I'm going to be giving rides, you get priority. And obviously, the people who are further up are going to be higher up on my priority list of giving rides outside of that. So for example, I don't expect anyone to be a $50 pledge because that's just a ridiculous amount of money to give someone per month just to help build their car. So obviously I don't expect that to happen, but if that happens, if someone becomes a $50 pledge, I'm more likely to be like, hey, this Sunday I'm free, do you want to ride in the GTR? And so I'm more likely to do that. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do that for someone who's not a pledge. It absolutely could happen, but I'm more likely to do that, more likely to feel inclined because you're helping me out with my dream, with my Patreon page. You're helping me out with all of this. You also get 1 extra entry into every giveaway on my Instagram or YouTube. Pretty simple and straightforward. If you're a $1 pledge, an active pledge at the time of the giveaway, you're going to get that extra entry. And if you go to the actual Patreon page, you'll be able to see all the rewards detailed out. And after that, it becomes pretty self-explanatory. The only difference is for the shout out on Instagram. If you're $5 or higher, you get that just shout out every time your pledge renews, which it'll notify me once it's renewed. You'll get that shout out every month, and that's just my way of thanking you. So that's pretty much the only difference, but it'll get better as you go up to higher tiers. And these will change. They will likely change as people give me good ideas to put as rewards, or if something's not, if the priority for a ride in the GTR somehow becomes an issue, I may take it out. And so this will be ever changing, but please just pay attention to it. And if you take a look at it, if it's something you want to help with, I promise you $1 a month doesn't sound like much to you. It really adds up fast. If a bunch of people are pledging $1 a month, it adds up super fast, and I'm going to be able to get the alpha front mount intercooler and continue with my build after that. My goal is absolutely at least 1,000 wheel horsepower one day. Doesn't mean it's going to happen anytime soon, but the more successful that my Patreon page is, the sooner that'll happen. The sooner you guys get interesting content from a GTR with over 1,000 wheel horsepower. So I think that's about it for this video. Those were pretty much the only 2 questions: is what is my money going towards, am I paying for your car, and then what are the reward systems. So if you have any other questions, feel free to post a comment down below or DM me on Instagram or anything like that. I'm happy to discuss. Let me know what you think about this setup and everything. If there's anything I need to change. I don't have lighting in front of me because I'm letting the natural light come in from my balcony. So let me know about that. Also, if you're interested at all in me giving an apartment tour of my new apartment, let me know. I don't want to do that just off the bat, but if people are interested, I'll definitely do it. So that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. And as always, have a nice day.